All right, guys, welcome back to Mad Marketing's YouTube channel. Just the other day, I received a message from someone on our site. They hit us up through the live chat and they let me know that they like the zigzag layout, right? So this video is going to be about 10 Instagram formatting layout ideas. I also already wrote the blog article. I'll put that in the description below if you prefer to read it rather than watch, right? And so I'm going to walk you through these so that there's no confusion. And if you're still confused, feel free to hit me up. You can email me, use our contact page, comment below, use our live chat, whatever it is, whatever makes you feel comfortable. But let's get started on these 10 Instagram formatting layout ideas. Right. And so we're going to start. The first is the zigzag layout. What you can see here on my screen, that I've chosen 3 shapes just to use as an example. What you will do with these 3 shapes is apply a specific aesthetic. So squares could be selfies, circles could be quotes, triangles could be lifestyle shoots, or they can represent specific colors. Whichever aesthetic you apply to the shape, make sure that you remember, you write it down, and then we're going to follow the following pattern. So I chose here to start with the square. You can see the square is all the way on the bottom right hand side. So whenever you start posting on Instagram, it's going to start on the top left, and as you continue to post, it's going to then move over to the right, drop down a level. So it's not always going to be an exact zigzag, but there will always be an apparent pattern to the eye, whether or not you can make it out. And so you just want to keep that in mind as you're doing this. So I started with the square, then the circle, triangle, circle, square, circle, triangle, circle, square. And as you continue this pattern, you'll notice it move, but it'll realign the other elements. All right, so moving on, our next one is the vertical post layout. So what the vertical post is, your idea is to actually have everything aligned vertically. So if we were going to take this same shapes here, right? You know what? This might be better. Let's see. Of course, that would be the case, right? There we go. All right. I'm going to try not even to cut that out because this is real life. All right. And so I'm just going to drag some shapes in here because I want you guys to be able to see exactly what I mean by this. And so, like the zigzag post format, you're going to assign an aesthetic to the 3 different shapes here. Oh, that's not exactly straight. What? Okay. And it's gonna turn out something like this. Of course, as you continue to post, things will move around, but there's always going to be a point of realignment. So keep that in mind as you're scheduling your posts. And so this is basically the vertical layout. if you choose to use this style, right? Let's go back to the article. What's next? Tiles. So I have a picture here. Great. So the way tiles works is exactly how it sounds. And so for the example that I've chosen here specifically is selfies and quotes. Now you'll see this in a lot of home decor, Instagrams, women's personal brands. They use a lot of quotes, not so much selfies, maybe pictures of plants and things like that, which is fine. As long as your audience finds it engaging and it works, then it works. There's nothing wrong with it. And so here you can see the alignment here. It's kind of like the zigzag. It is actually pretty much exactly like the zigzag if you take a close look, except this is only using 2 different aesthetics compared to the 3 different aesthetics. And so I want to point something out to you, and which you might not have noticed, even though this is 2 aesthetics, this is 3. Notice it's a photo, it either a selfie, lifestyle image, and then a quote, a graphic. So the aesthetic isn't the only thing you're allowed to apply to your strategy. Also keep in mind content. So you can easily start creating informative content, maybe videos, and you can apply those, or you can talk about different things. For example, if I wanted to start really going in on my business's marketing Instagram page, right? I can break down ads in some of the videos. I can show video tutorials on SEO. I can show images of email campaigns that I've created. I can share statistics. I can share performance of some of my email campaigns, my SEO, Amazon PPC reports, etc. So it's not just the look that you can play with and change around, but it's also the content and the things that you discuss in your post that you can change. And so next we're going to go with the pattern post. And so this is interesting. I personally wouldn't use it. However, simply white design, this looks great. And what you can see here is it's lifestyle images that give you an idea of the style, but these images are all overlaid on top of a common background. And so this is a pattern posting strategy and aesthetic. Now the rainbow post, I don't have an example. Some of the strategies that I talk about here in the article and that I'm going to be talking about here in the video, I came across Instagrams like this once or twice, but I didn't save them. Again, if I ever come across those, I am going to update this blog. I am going to update the video as well, because I want you to get the most out of this as possible. But essentially, this is 2 colors or more that fade into the next row. So let's see if we can make an example here. Let's make an example for you guys here. So if this is going to be red, right, can we add gradients here? So some of you guys might know how to apply a gradient here. You know what? Feel free to skip ahead if you don't want to watch some of this loading. That's fine. But I don't plan on cutting it out, and the reason for that is I want you guys to see and know that this is all live time, and I'm gonna try to do it that way all the time. This way, if I run into some issues, you guys see whatever those issues are, how I go about it, how I handle myself, you know, because I could easily just say, hey, I'm not even gonna show an example. But you know what? Because that takes a little more work. But for you guys, I'm always gonna put in that little extra work. I'm gonna keep it simple because it's not the shapes that we're concerned about here so much, right? What we're concerned about is how that color shifts from one to the next. All right, so that's what we really care about. I'm gonna make this black so we don't have to worry about that, so it doesn't draw our eye away. Yeah, I'm gonna take that extra step and come in here. Guys, as you're watching this, you know, feel free to write some things down. I know there's a great is this the library? I'll take this one. Okay. Websites that you can use. There we go. Maybe I won't cut it. Okay, I guess. One more. Okay. So ungroup. So the idea is to this is the rainbow post strategy. So I'm not going to apply it to the rest. That's going to take a little bit too long. I know I could get it done, but I'm not going to do that today. But you see how it starts off red, goes to purple, and then it gets to orange. And so your idea here is to get your first row, it's going to be mainly red up until about here, right? And then you start the purple down here and continue the purple into here, and then you start getting into the orange. So let's see if I were to draw something like this. If I were to just make it longer, it should carry that effect across. So you can see what's happening here. Starting off red, entering into the purple, and then into this yellow-orange type of shade. So that's rainbow. And you continue that along using whatever colors you choose, 2, 3. You know, you can find a gradient by searching on Google and just apply that. And it will work with lifestyle images, selfies, quotes, videos, as long as you include the colors and the tones So if you're going to use photos, you know, make sure you take photos and you place things in the photo that are using the color of your choice. So if you want that kind of turquoise in your first row, then make sure you're wearing a turquoise shirt. Maybe put something in the background like a vase that's turquoise. Anything like that's gonna work fine. All right, now we can move on. Here we go. The thematic post. So I took this example that you see here from Peter McKinnon. He does great work. I've been watching his videos for years. He's awesome. If you're not familiar with him, I recommend you check him out. But thematic posts. So what we can see here, what I see here is two different things. One, he is using teal and orange a lot across these photos, right? So that's something done a lot in movies. So not only is he giving us that consistent color, that consistent tone, and that consistent look, but the content itself is also very consistent with each other, and it fits. And so in and of itself, it's telling a story, right? He's taking photos out in the wild, in nature. You know, how did he get there? He drove there in his truck. I guess this is where he's staying, right? And you can't be out on the run all the time. So this is how they're spending their time inside, and this is what it looks inside. And here is just some of the things that they're seeing out there. You know, while he's on the boat, this is what he's seeing. So it's not just consistent in the colors of the image, also the content of the image, but it's also storytelling. Like you feel like you can almost feel like you were there with them, because you're getting to see from when they're outside what they're doing. You know, they're shooting, they're seeing beautiful sights, right? And then you can see them inside as well, what they're doing, how they're spending their time there. So it's kind of like it's pulling you in. So this is great, the thematic post. Widescreen or threes, this is the next posting strategy for Instagram, and it takes you, there's two ideas here for you to use. They now have the swipe right thing on Instagram, so you can see other images. You can still use that, that's fine. The more people swipe right on those posts, actually, the more it tells Instagram that it's engaging. And so I'll make another video on that, and once that's ready, I'll link it below. But for now, we can take a look at this one. So the threes, instead of putting all those similar images stacked into one post, you can split them up. And you can see this person in a yellow jacket out in nature, and the tones, the feeling is very similar, but it's three completely different pictures and very eye-catching, right? And then here's the widescreen. You can do it like this, so it's going to take up the whole thing, 3 images to get that entire photo in there. And then there's another option where you add a trim, and so you can see here it's black on the edges, and that's a very widescreen kind of effect, very like enthralling. White space is simply that. You see how we are adding, we're going to do it this way. We are going to do it this way. this is white space. Let's pretend that this red square is the content, the main image, the meat of the image. And what we're gonna add here is just gonna be kind of like a frame, right? So something like this. White trim. Boom. And so what this does, it's just gonna overlay, right? And as you repeat this pattern, you get something like this, right? So you get something. Let me just put that back. So you get something like this. There's little white spaces in between each post, and you can create the white trim to be thicker or thinner depending on your preference. So the 3x3 layout. This is a photo that is large, and it just takes up the entire 3x3 square. Every time you post an image, you take up that entire thing. I'm also planning on creating a video for you guys to help you whenever you take a photo to cut your image so that it fits perfectly when you post it on Instagram. Infinite scroll, my absolute favorite. It takes into account a lot of different elements that you've seen here today. I've seen it once. My cousin showed it to me. I have not been able to find that Instagram again, and he's unable to remember the name of the account. It's unfortunate. So it takes into play the rainbow effect. It takes into play the 3x3 layout effect, right? And so I'm gonna see if there's a way I can show you visually, although it's not gonna be perfect. I can tell you that now. All right. So basically, let us pretend, right now. And let's get rid of this, and this. All right. So ignore the fact that there's a gradient here for the time being. They posted an image that is 3x3, right? And that's it. Now, what's below this image? Ready? So what happens below this image is actually this is the most beautiful thing. I gotta tell you. Okay. So the next post below it is something completely different, you know. That's just like a, all right. So let's see if I can explain this to you guys. Ready? So this first thing right here, you see it's 3x3 as it crosses the grids, and where this color ends, right? So let's pretend this is the first post, and let's just pretend it's a sunset at a beach, right? And it's a 3x3 image as well. That's really all you need to know right now. It's a 3x3 image of a sunset on a beach, and the color of the sky at the top here seamlessly blends into the next image. And so let's say this next image is, let's see if I can make it like a nicer, could easily be, a picture of a desert. And so they didn't actually use live images for this. It was all illustrations. So if this was a sunset with water, and this is this color of the very top of the image, that color seamlessly flows into the next 3x3 images to create a connecting effect, but it's an entirely different scene. We can say they're in a desert right now, and this blue will seamlessly fade into the next image, and they could be underwater in the next image. So it just kept changing the scene of everything. The only thing that was connecting all the images is that the color at the edge, whether it be from the top here or the bottom here, seamlessly faded into the scene of the next 3x3 image that they were going to put in. So I thought that was phenomenal. Again, I haven't been able to find it. I've seen it used on only one Instagram. It was all illustrations. It will be extremely difficult to pull that off with live photos. However, I do think it's possible. If any of you guys are using that strategy, share it in the comments below. Send me an email, because I'd love to send my people, my subscribers, an email so that I can show them that kind of strategy. But that is it for today. That is 10 Instagram posting strategies that you can use right away. And if you have any more questions, drop it in the comments below. Shoot me an email. Check out the blog article that I wrote on it for a little more detail. And don't forget to hit that like button if you learned something today. Enjoy the weekend, because as I'm recording, it is Saturday morning. All right, guys, I'll see you next time.